Welcome back, my spooky little beans. How are you doing? I hope you're having a wonderful day. This past week, we visited Rotten Manor. Rotten Manor is located in Holly, Michigan, and consists of 4 haunted attractions: the Rotten Manor, the Asylum and Forest, the Hayride, and the House of Wax, and several smaller attractions along their Midway, which you would never know existed given the lack of advertising on those attractions. They aren't mentioned on their website or their socials at all. This is the 3rd time I visited this homegrown haunt, the last being in 2022, the first being in 2017. And in 2022 I visited on opening night. This time it was with one of my team and fellow reviewers, Tapper.
Morning, everybody.
We have a lot to say about Rotten Manor. First of all, we're gonna discuss the length real quick. Rotten Manor took about 22 minutes to go through. They advertise it being 35 to 45. Again, will vary depending on yourself and the group you're with. The House of Wax was around 8 to 10 minutes, which has no actors. I don't think they say that anywhere online, but it's important to note the House of Wax does not contain actors. It's just a walkthrough with some animatronics. But it's really cool.
There's the greeter at the very beginning, and that's it when it comes to people.
Yep. And she isn't going to scare you, hopefully. The Hayride took about 20 minutes, and the Asylum and Forest took around 22 minutes-ish. So... And also I'm going to talk about this. Rotten Manor charges a premium for their haunted attractions, and it's a cash-only place. We did receive 2 VIP full admission tickets to the haunts, but that does not affect our review. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. We are very happy that they provided us and very grateful that we were able to come out and review Rotten Manor to interview the owner, which will be put on a separate video on my YouTube. Will be up a couple days after this, so feel free to check that out for some behind the scenes footage and to get an idea of how Rotten Manor started and where it's going. So, talking about the prices again, for normal admission for a quad ticket, which again includes all 4 tickets, you're looking on a Thursday or Sunday in October, $65 for a quad ticket. On a Friday or Saturday, you're looking at $95 for a quad ticket per person in cash. And if you get fast passes, that's an additional $10 for each attraction per person. So they are quite expensive. Haunted houses themselves are not cheap to put on. I want to make that very clear. I am here to determine if your money is well spent here at this premium haunt, or at least what they tell is a premium haunt given their prices. So back in 2017, they stood out as one of the best haunted attractions I've ever been to, and in 2022 they fell a bit short of expectations, and then came along this year and I left feeling disappointed with a general feeling of boredom. I will let you go ahead and take the reins from here, Tapper, about what you felt about that. What were your impressions getting there, going through it, and then coming out of that last haunt? What was going through your head?
I will say it has a very nice first impression when you walk in.
Mm-hmm.
But then, after doing all the haunts, I was left a bit disappointed because it was built up so much for me, because it was described not just by you, but as online as well and by other places as being one of the bigger, more premier haunts, despite it being a homegrown haunt. So I felt a little let down going through, having high expectations, even though there were plenty of things I really enjoyed from it. Overall, it just didn't live up to the hype that was built for it.
I will say, going into the House of Wax, I did feel a little bit like nostalgic for horror movies, because that is what it is. It is not a traditional House of Wax or wax museum. They have posters, like old posters of horror films, on there, and then they have little scenes they're recreating and also have small dioramas. Very cute. I felt like a kid in a candy shop in there. I really liked it. Is it worth $30? No, unfortunately. I really don't think it's worth that much. I think it's still a lot of fun. If you're going anywhere where you have the funds, go check out the House of Wax. It's really cool. And you might get a little scared. You never know. What was your favorite haunt of all three? I'm gonna consider the House of Wax a haunted attraction. What was your favorite one?
To be fair, the House of Wax is billed as an attraction, but
Yeah.
personally, I would have to say the hayride was my absolute favorite because it gave me a feeling of nostalgia of rides I enjoyed when I was a little kid. And I really enjoyed the set designs mainly because I just like the setup, well, not the setup, but it just tickled a part of my brain with the set designs out there.
Yeah, yeah. Set design there was pretty good, and we have talked a little bit before. You were mentioning, so the Rotten Manor, the very first room in it is what you were talking about earlier. I'd like you to describe that because you said it really well.
Yes, the very first room, the welcome room, or the foyer, as one might call it, had a terrific actor, really great voice, and he was very expressive and could emote really well. However, I don't think he was given enough to shine. He only said a few things, and he had to do a bunch of stiff movements that I guess he was trying to portray an animatronic, but I personally feel like he could have been utilized a lot better.
No, I agree. I agree with you there. One of the other things I wanted to note is back in 2017 when I first went, I do feel like he was utilized a lot better. I don't know if it was the same actor. It's hard to tell when they put on voices and makeup and everything, but it was done better then. And then my big complaint is when we went back in 2017, when you go into that second room, we'll call it, past the foyer, I don't want to give it all up in case they go back, or maybe we just had an odd experience that day, but it was magical. This was like a haunted manor. They had you go into this room that they make pitch black and have things glowing, and then have a type of strobe going that wasn't too intense, but was enough occasionally to make you see some stuff, including, maybe an actor that's lurking in there. And then the fireplace would open up and then you would walk in, but weren't given that magical experience this time around. It was like as soon as you walk in that room that's already too well lit, you go right into the fireplace, and I don't know, it's something about that. It cheapened the experience for me, and that's what kind of left me. That wasn't obviously the only thing. There were that was kind of like the first bit of disappointment I experienced, and it just kind of continued from there. I'm not saying everything was bad or negative in Rotten Manor. It's just, for me, that part really stuck out in the very beginning. And then from there, we're going to discuss a lot of the little problems that could have been fixed. Like, one of my big complaints is the very dark and very long repeating hallways that are narrow where nothing is happening. There was a lot of that, a lot of back switching, and it's just a lot of just walking, which is fine. I know some people complain about it before with other haunts, but this is by far the most walking in between different areas with nothing happening that I've ever done for a haunted house, which is saying a lot, because I've been to plenty of haunted cornfields and forests and other haunted houses all around Ohio and Michigan, and I don't mind walking, but with nothing going on, and it just felt everyone was stretched thin. It's gonna lead us to one of the points that I did make about critiques, because we're gonna get into critiquing it now. Because we're gonna intermix critiques with some of the good things they did in some of the haunts. I think the staff and actors were stretched too thin given the size of the attractions. We went on a Thursday, and I counted around 25 actors. I may have missed one or two here and there. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure I got them all, but you know, about 25 actors amongst all 4 haunts. The House of Wax doesn't have actors, mind you, so it's technically between the 3. And the Midway also had an actor. I remember the Midway having a lot more actors back in 2017. Heck, even in 2022 they had more actors. And I know they said this year they were really low. They normally have 70 to 80 actors, and they said they're now running with like anywhere between like 30 and 40, which is really low. And I know on Thursdays and Sundays they say are their light days, so they tend to have even less, which is, I don't know, I feel like that's just a way to cheapen the experience, like because you're going on a Thursday and Sunday, you're experiencing less. Does that sound okay to you?
I understand the thought process as a business.
Yeah.
However, as a business, you should accommodate for having less actors, and they didn't think about doing that.
Yeah. No, I agree. I can hear your doggo in the background.
I am sorry.
You're fine. He's adorable. Yeah, there was way too much dead time. That's what I'm referring to, where there were no actors, no animatronics, no ambiance or music, and little light effects. And yeah, we were told ahead of time by the owner, by one of the co-owners, that they were understaffed and they don't have as many actors on Thursdays and Sundays. So basically, like, AKA, you get a lesser experience. It's not worth the reduced price, in my opinion. What's your opinion on that? Is it worth the price for Thursday?
Even at the reduced price, I don't think so.
Okay.
There just wasn't enough there to warrant the reduced price. If anything, paying either of the prices, I would have been even more upset.
Yeah. Yeah. Not to mention the haunts were largely animatronic heavy and actor light. Like, there would be 5-ish minutes where of us not even seeing an actor in sight. Sometimes not seeing anything in sight at all. Nothing, just walking either in the forest or pitch blackness. And the asylum really suffered from a lack of actors. The few in there did a great job, especially the one following us around and repeating certain lines. It was unnerving. He did a great job. Like, but overall, there were a lot of missed opportunities. You could tell where actors were supposed to be, and then they weren't there. And it's like, oh no. We kept looking around. I kept seeing spots where they were definitely supposed to pop out of, and we didn't get that on camera because we don't want to give it away. But it's just like, everywhere I look, there's disappointments.
Holes in walls.
Yep.
For actors to go in and out of, where there's unfortunately a light shining on it, so it just sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah. And we kept getting lost, which we heard people in front of us and behind us getting lost too. So like, that is a thing that happened in 2022 when I went with friends. They got really turned around and kind of got upset with all of it. So yeah, I kind of think that might just be part of the Rotten Manor experience, honestly, of just getting lost.
Which we did get turned around towards the end of the experience in the manor itself.
Yeah, we did. I'm trying to remember, like, was that towards... Yeah, multiple times, honestly. Multiple times. Like, the one, obviously, we completely went around and we're like, oh, we just legit missed the exit. Like... But the other times, just because the other times before that, though, were just incredibly dark. You couldn't see where anything was. Like, it was pitch black. Like, he wouldn't have known where I was without holding onto my bag.
It was either
I'm signaling like you're behind me when you're not even in the same room.
It was either overly dark to where you couldn't see, or 2 different directions were semi-lit up, and it wasn't clear of which path to go, if there even were 2 separate paths.
Yep. Another thing in the asylum, the elevator had poor timing. And it was like a group, like the actors didn't do the elevator portion in enough time, because we sat in there for a while without the actors moving, and then they finally did. So by the time they started doing the whole thing, if you go experience where they shake it, they opened up both doors on either end, so the people who were like behind us were peeking in when they shouldn't have, and then they were also trying to talk to one of the actors, which is not really cool, trying to get him to break character because it was one of their friends, I'm pretty sure. But it's just like, you shouldn't have opened the door. You should just open the door because there's an exit for us to go out without going backwards. So I don't know, that might have just been they timed it wrong. I don't know what happened there, but it didn't work. The bathroom head props, and I know I already ranted about this to you like before the video, the bathroom head props were very obviously fake and looked poorly done as they spun around. Why was it spinning? The head was spinning above the stall doors, but I'm like, was his foot like caught in the toilet, but then he wouldn't be standing and be above the stall doors? I don't know what they were going for there, but it just didn't work out. I don't like toilets and bathrooms in haunted houses. I think they're cheesy and a way to kill time. This overall bathroom part would have been fine. When I think of horrifying bathroom stuff, I think of like the games like Crow Country or like Silent Hill or even Resident Evil. And again, yes, video games, but haunted houses draw inspiration from Hollywood. So movies, and if they can do it, they can also portray that, like they can draw inspiration from horror games. So I don't know, something to think about is to kind of look up some of those games, especially like how Crow Country does things. And it doesn't even, you might want one actor in there. You don't even necessarily need an actor in a bathroom to even make it scary. I'm sorry. You can have something splayed out in the toilet to make it really unnerving, to get that shock factor, if you will. But like using a prop that looks like it's from Party City isn't going to accomplish that. That sounded really harsh. Anyway, that's my rant about bathrooms. It was a whole thing there, so I had to bring it up, okay? You will see a very small snippet of it in the walkthrough.
Mind you, it's not just Rotten Manor that you have a problem with.
Yeah, it's all haunted houses.
It's all haunted house bathroom sets.
Yep, it literally all of them. I've never been to a haunted house that's utilized a good, maybe one. That might have been Dent Schoolhouse did a decent job, but I don't know if they still have that anymore. And I went years ago, so I'd have to go back and see if they still did. But even then, it wasn't like great still. When I think of it, I really think of like the Silent Hill and Crow Country, from what I remember. I think that's good. But I've never seen a haunted house do a bathroom thing well, so I should really, I need to get off of it. I will go on for hours. A really tiny critique I want to bring up, this is really, really tiny. So I got hot cider there, and it came in a really, it was $3, which I thought was cheap, right? But it was in the tiniest foam cup that would hold maybe like 4 shots of liquid, like 4 shots. It was literally this big. I'm kidding you not, because how I could hold it in my hand. I would rather have paid $6 for one of those red cups that's much bigger to have hot cider in, or something similar, than get a tiny thing. I'd rather pay more for a lot more cider than get a tiny thing. It's, I you know, I don't also want to carry around 2 cups, like something just to consider. I know I said that was tiny. I feel like I went on too. What do you feel like? I felt kind of like ripped off there.
Well, yeah, I will say for what, maybe 4 or at best 6 ounces of hot cider, $3 is a bit much.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But I will also say, for another critique, is during the interview, he mentioned that they did not have a dumpster.
Oh
so
my god, I forgot about, yeah.
The trash hadn't come and been picked up yet.
In 2 weeks.
Which, when we went, the cans weren't so bad. I don't know what they were doing.
They were full when we went. We just weren't using them, but they were full.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were piling the trash anywhere, but I can't help but wonder how you don't either rent or or buy a dumpster when you know you're going to have so many, not just actors, but employees in general, because people have to show up every night, and I'm sure they have garbage on them, whether or not they've been drinking things throughout the night, or actors using stuff to take off the makeup and throwing that away.
Yeah.
I feel with so many employees, a dumpster should be one of the first things you should buy, so you can empty your trash. And again, it wasn't the overflowing garbage might not have been something noticeable to us, but
Mhm.
within the week it could be worse. Anybody watching could be going on a day where they're overflowing by a lot.
Yeah. I look at it as like, how thorough of a review do we do? Well, we look at your trash cans. We're freaks. We're the people who are like, we care about the haunted house the most, mind you, but we want to know, are you taking care of your on-site bathrooms or porta pots? Are you taking care of your trash? Are you taking care of the midway to keep it cleaned up? Like, what are you doing to provide to people? Like, is there anything in line? We're looking at all the extra stuff too, online sites, socials. I'm a little, maybe a little crazy about like, about my haunt reviews, okay? Which is now rubbing off on you, Tapper. I know it is, because you brought up the dumpster thing, and I'm like, you're learning, you're getting the eye. So let's go through our suggestions. First of all, their website is a mess in areas. Before that, I really think they should try to get Wi-Fi and online tickets. I think that will help solve a lot of issues for them. I think it's just better all than having to deal with cash all the time. Their website, huh? What was that?
I was gonna say, I agree.
Yeah. Their website's a mess in areas. If a haunt is cash only, you need to list the prices of everything from the haunts to the midway attractions and like everything in between. I have received multiple comments about this from others. The midway games and attractions, I'm talking about the casket ride, the game next to the casket ride, the maze, and the vortex, all of it, they should be listed on the site. And every social media platform that you were on, you can have little videos portraying them, like portraying them, like so people know like, oh, this is what it is and this is how you play it. Otherwise no one knows those exist, and you're trying to just push them where you sell merchandise and food, and that's not gonna, I mean, I feel like that's the wrong place to put them. It's like you usually want to keep them near a ticket booth or their own booth altogether, especially since your merch booth was a little busy too. And I mean, that, I don't know if that's nitpicking. I do just feel like, you know, advertising that stuff on your socials and your website is standard, and kind of cleaning up the website a bit, like where you have the prices for your tickets and everything. It's just a little bit messy and hard to read. I've had it on stream enough times with enough complaints about it that I feel the need to bring it up.
I wouldn't say it's nitpicky because we drove how long to get there, and if other people are driving half hour to an hour to get there, you know, and it's cash only, people want to be prepared, and if they want to do everything, well, they don't know if they can do everything without paying extra for having to use the ATM because they couldn't plan for it.
Yep. No, I agree there. And there's no mention of the price of the theater or lack of price for the theater, and that wasn't even open the day we went, which is disappointing. I got the overall feeling that everyone was overwhelmed with the workload and were unable to handle the advertising of the other attractions. You should also mention that the House of Wax has no actors in it. I didn't know that, and a lot of people didn't seem to know that it didn't have actors in it. Even though it does have animatronics, I will say that. Try not to go so light on actors on Thursdays and Sundays. It gives the impression you get a cheap experience, which is true. They were so spaced out that it allowed boredom to set in. Limit your use of strobing. Too much detracts from the scares. That rat puppet would have been much better in a poorly lit environment rather than a heavy strobing room. The effect would have been just a lot like stronger had the focus been on the rat and not just everything in the room lighting up from the strobe light. You just have a little light, I'm saying off center. Make sure the room's fairly dark when the rat comes out, has the eyes glowing, and just a little bit of light on it. It makes for a stronger effect. I've seen this done and used to very strong effect at other haunted houses. But
I will also say, sorry to cut you off.
You're fine.
Because of, if you know, not for you viewers, if the haunt itself knows that they have a lack of actors, not just for the day, but for the year as a whole, it would be nice to for them to figure out how to rearrange their haunt to mitigate the dead space and all the dead air so they can utilize scares better and utilize their actors better.
Yeah,
So that way, even on Thursdays and Sundays where it's supposed to be lighter crowds and everything,
mhm.
they're still getting a really high quality experience without despite having the lack of
Yeah.
actors.
I know some haunts have done that. I don't know how feasible it is, especially for a large scale haunt like Rotten Manor. I know mall haunts have done that before, mall style haunts. I know like farm style, like farms can do that, but there are a lot of haunts that would struggle to do that just to change it for one day and then go back on Friday and Saturday to normal and then change it again on Sunday because that would be a lot of work.
Well,
But again, I mean, it's not, this is a suggestion, it's an option, it's not something they have to do at all, but it's a recommendation if they're looking, if they can't staff enough people for all of their haunted houses.
yeah, that's why I also added the caveat. They from the beginning of them opening for the year, they know they're going to be short staffed for
Mhm.
the whole year.
I'm also
So
wondering, do they pay all of their actors? They could bring on volunteers for acting. I know plenty of haunts that do both paid and volunteer positions for acting. That could be an option if the struggle is getting people there because your funds, you don't have the funds to employ the actors on Thursdays and Sundays. Maybe look at trying to get volunteers, people who are looking to get acting experience. That might work in your favor. Those are the people you're gonna get who want to be out there for volunteering are gonna want to be there and want to do their best. And I've seen volunteers just do amazing things because they actually want to be there. They're not there just for a paycheck. However, I also understand people need to be paid at the same time, but maybe having some volunteers intermixed with your paid staff, that might help. This, I don't know, again, I don't know the situation. I don't know if they pay, if maybe all the actors all volunteer. I'm not quite sure of that situation. There were areas of like where the quality was there, that the set design was beautiful. I will say that there were areas where the set design was very nice, but there was minimal to no music, sounds, lighting, or actors, so the effect of the set design was lost, unfortunately, because there's nothing else to back it up. They were areas that were so quiet that it made the attempt to scare by the single actor in the room quite odd. This happened in multiple rooms. One is more notable than the other, which I will show on the walkthrough, so maybe you can see kind of the impression that we got. Maybe the quiet was intentional, but it did fall flat in these rooms they used it. Some of the actors were overshadowed by the noise of the animatronics, which didn't really allow the actors to shine. A lot of missed opportunities. Just a lot of that was from the lack of actors, I'll be honest, and open, repeating, lengthy walks with lack of substance between areas, just nothing there. Large areas and even larger sets with nothing going on except maybe music if you were lucky. I know I'm kind of ripping into it a bit. Some of these are like suggestions, though. It's just like you need more. They relied so heavily on strobing effects that they didn't really. There were areas that had lighting. Some of it was beautiful, and then there'd be areas that'd be very minimally used, but whatever effect they were going for just wasn't working. And maybe some of the lights were out. It could have been that there was things going on, but I would hope that wouldn't be the case given that they are near the end of the season. This isn't near opening night. This is at the end of the season. So they should have everything like ready. There should be no issues. And
yeah,
again,
they should have most of the kinks worked out by this point.
yeah. And we were invited. We were invited out as reviewers to get footage. We were allowed to get footage. They said they radioed in that we were allowed to. The actors on the hayride knew this. We didn't have any trouble with, but the actors, and of course, the House of Wax, we had no issues with, given that there were no actors in it. But both the Rotten Manor and the Asylum, and almost every actor said something. It was worse than the Asylum, but almost nearly every actor said something. Granted, that's their job. They're doing their job. It's part of it. Like, most people are not allowed to record in haunted houses, but given that we were given permission, I would have thought they would have made a better attempt to inform their actors, because I am not blaming the actors. I just think I'm blaming the disorganized like kind of mess this became, because you really lose out on immersion. And I'm just thinking if there's something they can provide to you, like lanyards or a glow stick or something, it's like, oh, if this person has this particular glow stick, it means they're allowed to record, so that way the actors know they don't have to necessarily be given like a bunch of insight beforehand. Or maybe do a specific media night like other haunts do, where those people come an hour early, you're allowed, everyone goes through to get pictures and films and that, and then the actors know, okay, everyone here is probably filming, and even if they're not, like the people behind them are allowed to, because it's media night, right? And it's just, that's just one of the things that stands out. It's just like, maybe do that, because it was kind of a disaster with how often, because not even, like, some of the actors were cool about it. After we said we got permission, they got back into character, but that wasn't the case for all of them, and a lot of times it was awkward for them to get back into character after having that interaction where they thought, you know, we were breaking the rules. And then some of them just straight up didn't believe, even after we said we had permission from the co-owner, they still didn't believe that we had permission to film. And maybe it's because we're using a phone, and we use a phone on purpose at the moment to, well, we're testing out things. First of all, it's the first year we've gotten footage, but we're also don't want to get 4K shots to ruin the haunt. Right? I'm not trying to give too much away, so using a really powerful camera would probably do that.
We don't want to give away all of the details.
Yeah, and again, there's things cameras will pick up that the human eye will not pick up. And even with the walkthrough, what you're going to see, you're going to have a different experience if you go in person, because again, your perception is going to be different. Also, everyone scares differently. You never know. Some people won't scare at all. It varies vastly person to person, right?
Right.
That being said, I want to discuss more of the highlights so you don't just hear us ripping about it, because Rotten Manor does have some strong stage presence, and part of that is, like, with what few actors they did have, some of them were very talented. But again, they weren't given the chance to shine because a lot of those actors were stuck in rooms with animatronics. My favorite actor was either the guy in the asylum who kept repeating just kept repeating some horrifying stuff, or it was Rat Man. I don't know how else to describe that, except they were a rat and they looked like they were on a throne, and they were next to a casket that had fog coming out of it, and it was a beautiful effect, right? But the animatronic was very unnecessary and kind of ruined it, because the rat guy was like trying to talk to us and they couldn't hear him over the animatronic. And I kind of like was wondering, because since the casting had a cool effect, maybe use some misdirection by placing another actor in like a different area of the room, so people could be focused on the rat actor, and then you could have someone else come up. And but instead there was an animatronic there, and it was poorly placed, and it was poorly timed and generic. There were too many animatronics for the most part, and there were too many animatronics. But for the most part, I will say they were well timed, minus one or two of them. But for the most part, they went off the way they were supposed to. Like, it's just there were too many of them, and they really refused. Like, they took away the shine from the actors, like that were in those rooms.
The animatronics would either cut off the actor, or it would just drown them out, and you couldn't hear the actor in general. Yeah, and that happened in a large amount of the rooms, unfortunately. There were a few areas in the asylum, like, not really in the asylums, in the forest area where that didn't happen as much, but even still, like, even some of those beautiful little, like, I want to call them huts because they're not full houses, but there was part of the asylum forest experience. That was beautiful set design inside and outside of those buildings. Great, right? But those animatronics in there just ruin it. Like, not all of them, but majority of them ruined it because you can't hear the actor then. The actors are doing a phenomenal job. However, I thought we were breaking the rules or something because the door was shut, and I'm like, are we supposed to open it? Are we supposed to? Maybe that's the thrill of the experience there, but those set designs were, like, impeccable, and just... They were so good, I wanted to spend more time in them, and was disappointed that I had to be rushed out so quickly. Like,
and not even, like, to get footage on our point, because I deleted a lot of that. I'm not showing a lot of that. Because I want to say that for people who want to go. It's just that, yes, there's a lot of walking in between them with no actors for the most part, and that part I wish they would do more with. But the actual inside of those buildings, the outside, is gorgeous. I mean, at the outside of the Rotten Manor is really cool looking. So clearly the creativity and passion is not lacking here. If anything, it's organization and maybe timing. They might and understaffed. I want to say they're probably understaffed. And I know, like, when you're running with a family, things can be a little difficult with what you agree on, but like, you have the makings here of just a fabulous haunt, but it's not utilized. And because in 2017 it was such a grand experience, and I know not a lot has changed since, like, I've noticed the changes, but like overall not a lot has changed. And some of the changes that were made, like the ballroom, I want to call it the ballroom, I think you know what I'm talking about. There were more balls in there back in 2022 than there were now, and I really enjoyed that it was difficult. Also, they had an actor in that room just flying across the balls like it was no problem, and I'm like look at this little, look at him go. Like, he actually made me mad. It was like, it was entertaining. The whole carnival area had a lot of actors in it, and it really came alive. And they seem to have replaced it with a lot of animatronics and a lot of sound effects that are cheesy instead of relying on the actors, and the impact was disappointment. And it makes me feel so bad because I know I talked to Rotten Manor, to you, Tapper. I talked it up because I had such a grand experience in 2017, and 2022 wasn't as good, but it was still a relatively good experience. And then this year came around, it's like, what happened? What happened? Maybe part of me wants to be like, you know, with enough actors, it could be salvageable. But I mean, but this is what our experience was for Thursday, so there's no taking that back.
Right.
And ultimately, general staff at the front of the haunts, they were a delight to talk to. The set design in between the long stretches of hallways was very good. And again, I would like to see them added too. I want to see more special effects, more actors, less animatronics. Just really focus on like some of the lighting and noise factor to add into there, because there are so many areas of like dead silence, some of which can be utilized like in the dark areas, but other than that, I don't really think, like, I mean like the pitch black areas, but even then it's like that those were really lengthy. And we talked about those little buildings and the set designs and the asylum and forest. The hayride actor's really good, especially the really tall man with antlers and I think a skull for a face, like a deer skull. And that the petite actress next to him, they did a fabulous job. Most of the people on the hayride did a very good job, even if I couldn't understand what they were saying the whole time, because a couple of them have very, very strong like you know, country accents are putting it on, but they did a great job. They had a lot of enthusiasm for what they were doing, but they suffered from a lack of actors. They needed a couple more at least for the hayride.
In a few spots, I do agree.
Yeah, I do think that big animatronic was a little cheesy. But again, that might just be a pet peeve of mine, is like a lot of the large animatronics, you can hear them go off and they just tend to not look very good. I have seen large animatronics and puppets do really well on hayrides, like at Spooky Ranch, but the effect of the animatronics just wasn't there at this haunt. The last one, which I think the second one we went to, was actually the House of Wax. Really cool. I would love to see extended. I love the pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns animatronics. I've seen them at Eloise Asylum. I do think you guys did a better job with your pumpkins than Eloise did, because you actually had them speak and had music to it and sound effects, and it was just an overall really pleasant and cool experience. Really cool Halloween thing, and you guys kind of knocked that out of the water, at least as far as like what I thought the House of Wax was. Do I think it's worth $30? I think that's overpriced, especially given that it takes maybe, you know, if you take your time, 10 minutes to go through. However, there's a lot of cool things in there to see, so if you do spend the money to go through and get a quad ticket, I do think the House of Wax is worth it. Like, it's fun.
Yes.
But again, I want to see it. I want to see more to it. I want them to add to it so badly, you know?
Yes, I would like to see it expanded upon, if not be bigger, have show off possibly more art, and maybe get more obscure with the movie references, but at the
Yeah.
same time, that might just be a personal thing.
Yeah.
Other people might want to see more recent stuff or the more noteworthy stuff that has come out.
Now, I know this review has drawn on just a little bit long, but overall, the experience felt cheap compared to previous years, which led to disappointment. The Rotten Manor is their original haunt and what everyone knows it for, but it was the worst part of the experience for me. This didn't feel like a premium experience despite what people are paying. We don't want a haunt to fail. Let me put this right. We do not want them to fail. We don't go into haunts looking to rip them apart for their flaws, but when they have them, they should be mentioned because the general public pays good money to be scared and or entertained. If you can't manage that, there's a problem that needs fixing. That being said, there are a lot of improvements to be had here and a lot of space that can be better utilized. I am really looking forward to seeing what they do going forward with Rotten Manor.
It's a very promising haunt.
Yes. Yes. Until next time, guys, I'm Skeleton Belle.
I'm Tapper.
And we will see you next time when we head to Night Terrors.
Look at what we have here. More guests have arrived. Yes.
Go through the fireplace. I assume this way.
Oh, that's the...
Oh, he's just thirsty.
I mean, it's done up, so I assume this is the end. This is continuing.
I assume so. It's deceptively tall. Well, not tall, but I can stand up. I didn't have to squat.
This is a cool world. Like, I love going through that.
Yeah. Now we are in the crypt.
I'm going to Nightmare Room!
Damn, that's a good scream. Ooh. I like the bar.
Hi. Oh, you get a knife. I love the bar design.
I see it's that type of saloon, is it? Goodbye.
Is this like a little lackluster to you?
Very, if I'm being honest.
You could say a little backwards out.
I'm sorry.
That's so abruptly.
Not,
How the fuck you?
you crawl.
You have to crawl. You cannot walk. Ugh. They do have a rope. It's just not down. Here, let's toss that down so people can use it to... We're supposed to have that rope to pull us up.
Horses just keep killing themselves. They run straight to the water, they get out, they can't hear the chatter, the constant chatter, they talk and they talk and they talk and she talks. They can't stand the water. They just kill themselves.
Yeah, it is.
Those fans just made it 10 times worse. Well, this is a cool setup.
There's a lady in the window. Or a person in the window, excuse me. Oh, I love this.
It's a gingerbread house. Oh my goodness.
Well, someone's getting scared.
I got separated. I love this. I love the wait. Do we go around? I thought you could.
I'm going to go.
I don't think we can go in. I thought you could always go into this place. Maybe not. No, that doesn't look like we're supposed to go in. For sure. Is it? Is there music in it?
Yeah.
Are we supposed to go in? It was just open. But it doesn't look like it's... Oh, you do just open the door.
I like how the glow shows better on my phone than it does with our eyes.
What funny is it? I think we just go out the front door.
Did we say you could come in yet?
Go ahead.
Do we? Oh.
Get it! I'm hungry!
I mean, I do want to warm up.
I mean, I do too, but I don't know if this is the right way.
I like how bouncy it is in the middle.
Oh, we have to like squeeze. Oh god. Hey, be careful, it's slippery apparently. Okay. Are you on your butt when you're going down? Yeah. Oh, no shit. Okay, watch your step.
Oh, I think this is supposed to be more full of rocks. Well, the foam blocks. I think the entire floor is supposed to be full, and you use the ropes.
Wait, I have a question for you. Listen, my landlord expects me to collect lots of souls tonight, so would you be willing?
I mean,
Yeah, sure.
You would.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
don't know how much mine's gonna be worth, but yeah, go.
Yeah, they're probably not worth a lot.
Well, I don't smell much between the two of you, so
That,
you
well,
don't
that's
have
fair.
all your soul, do you?
No, too many haunted houses. That's a vampire area? Yeah. Have you guys been there?
She has.
2 years ago, but I have like a very extraordinarily good memory.
Oh, the doors close automatically behind us. Neat.
How sweet.
Those kids were saying that it was going to be the scariest thing. That wasn't that bad.
If I were an actor, you are like, I would literally just grab your head. Like that.
Aragog.
We'll do it! We need us some tires, Eddie! Now we need us some gas! Get us some gas going, huh? Oh. This ain't gotta go, though. Let's get some fire going. It'll warm us right up. Come on. Come on. Hey, like. Oh my gosh! Going towards me, your souls. Seriously?
I like how you were almost like shit talking them a little bit.
He's a badass and the scream comes out.
Oh my god.
Okay. just reminds me of the skeleton boat ride from Cedar Point, and that was always my favorite.
Does anyone want to play checkers with me?
It's working this year. Look at this dangling a snake, a rubber snake.
Oh, shit!
He's gonna get you.
Oh, hell no!
Oh you think I'm crazy? He's crazier. He'll rip you in half.
I don't know how difficult that would actually be for me.
Oh, that'd be so cool if he did. That though. Oh, that's cool. Kind of reminds me of disaster transport, like the industrial area. Oh! I'm dead! I'm dead! I'm dead!
Behind you.
Oh, shit!
How are you?
Good.
I like you!
So no head?
Is this where that guy scared the fuck out of him?
Oh my god! You had to say something.
On that side! He's going through it. I don't know
From
how
Van
many
Hill?
there
Or, is this from Van Hill? Yeah.
Oh, okay, that got way closer than I thought it was gonna get. Oh,
I like the art.
you like the what?
The art.
Yeah, the art's really fucking cool.
Ooh. I want.
Look at this, look like happening.
I do kind of legit want this picture.
Oh, the original. Oh, they have all the original posters. Look at they have all the little sets. Oh, this is just really charming.
Ooh. Yeah. I gotta get a close up on this one because I love Tales from the Crypt.
Oh, dude. It's they take our time to look at it, so. And also get Pennywise there. He's oh.
Alien versus Freddy versus
Oh my god, that's so well done. These are really well done.
Another Freddy versus Jason.
Classic movies. They have The Exorcist tilted over here.
Seed of Chucky?
Maybe. That's the terror. Okay, so these are all the scenes that we just saw then. There's Krampus. There's Rotten Manor. Because they had the Terrifier scene right there. The Nun.
Man, I probably should have just done 2 full sweeps instead of the weird ass thing I did.
Do you want to try doing 2 full sweeps?
Nah.
I like these a lot. I like Hold on, they stole this Eloise.
Even the dangling nutsack?
That's
Yeah, the dangling nutsack.
They have This is cool.
It is.
This is well done.
Look at her crawling. And there she goes.
She's crawling.
She got tired. Look at the beholder.
Yes, the beholder. Look at him. He's so cute.
He just had a messy lunch. He's just got some spaghetti on his chin.
Came out when I was really young.